Hi, I'm Snow Lucky Death, but you may call me Yuki or Snow. Welcome to my Undertale Glassverse introduction video. On AO3, I am called Yuki7744, and I created my own multiverse series called Undertale Glassverse. I started writing this series in my journals on August 5th, 2024, and had written 3 of the books and part of the 4th. I know it's a long series, and I know some people have a hard time reading that much like my sister. That's why I decided to read it out loud here. I hope you will like Glassverse as much as I do. Hopefully it is well written and well read, because neither are my strong points. I am dyslexic, have speech impairment, though I've taken several speech therapy classes since I was little and have mostly overcome that. I still have trouble with grammar and such. I use Bing AI to help with my grammar, but the whole story itself is mine that I came up with. I hope that's okay. Before we get started, I would like to give some warnings. First off, this series isn't exactly meant for minors. I know many minors will ignore this warning, much like I did as a kid. So for scenes where I labeled skip in my fanfic on AO3, I will skip on here. To make this clear, I will not read these parts that I am about to give warnings on. They take place in book 2. Now then, there will be 2 counts where there is R-wording, and those I never wrote out fully, and the second one I plan on skipping anyways. The only indicator that you will know these happen are when the sands called Secret Sands, when his papyrus is born, and when the other sands, Cover Sands, has his child. Luckily, they are both out of harm's way when their children are born and the children are kept safe. The next warning is that there is 2 other cases where there is one-sided font cess. That does not go anywhere. Warp Sands and Clef Sands both have crushes on their papyruses, but both papyruses fell in love with each other instead, and both Warp and Clef accept their brother's decisions, and they support them. Warp Sands and Clef Sands also have been cursed and or actively dying from soul diseases for different reasons. Both had self-loathing for having these crushes because they knew they were wrong for having these feelings, and they believed they deserved to be punished or dusted, but couldn't intentionally dust themselves because their brothers would be so broken and possibly fall down if they did. They still want to protect their brothers, and they kept silent about their feelings because they know they couldn't ever act upon them, and they knew they were wrong. These characters are very complicated, and they may be wrong for having those feelings, but they are still good characters who try to do the right thing in the end, even if given a little chance to do so early on. I would also like to say that I created a new AU type. So you may know the fell types or the swap types, like Underfell, Swap Fell, Fell Swap, and so on. Well, I created the 2 Hells AU, which starts the Hell type AUs. This is, however, I believe is introduced in book 5 or 6. And the thing where they all have in common, the Hell type AUs, is that Papyrus commits genocide instead of the human, and Papyrus hates Sands. That's the main thing they all have in common. So the 2 Hells AU's younger counterparts, the Hellfell Swap AU and the Dungeon Hell AU take center stage and ultimately replaces Two Hells AU for reasons. There will be AU destruction because this fic is mostly about a multiverse war against what will be known as the Gaster Empire. There will be experimentation, exploitation, soul manipulation, character death. Though I have one neutral Sans, Fragrant Sans. He's a healer, and he can take out and give a shard piece from his soul to other monsters or humans that is dusting or dying, give them a second or even a third chance at life. Of course, the monster or human soul has to be present. And in this multiverse, you can hold the monster souls in containers much like the human souls in order to keep them around longer. There are 100 shards total, and if Fragrant Sans loses the last one, he dies. This is why Reaper Sans follows him, because he is getting closer and closer to death. He can save others, but he can't save himself, sadly. This series focuses on the multiverse war against the Gaster Empire ruled by Mirror Gaster, which will be seen in the second half of Book 1, Sun&Moon, and Queen Gaster in Book 3, Shattered Multiverse, where the war really starts. Book 2, Next Generation, will not show all, but most of the Next Generation. The first several books will show a new Sans, or Papyrus, a new AU, basically. The second one shows most of them. So there is the old generation or first generation with Nightmare, the Murder Time Trio, Star Sanses, Air. The mid or second generation is with PJ, Crescent, Starcross, basically the ship children. Then there is the main cast of this series, the third or the next generation. They will fight over two powerful orbs that Mirror Gaster starts creating in Book 1, Sun&Moon. But only complete the orbs in Book 2, the next generation. Basically, he creates the orbs by using light and positivity, but the orbs didn't have shape. He used another Sans soul, split in two, and gives the orbs their shape. These orbs plus the power of a certain character that has the power of a god, but not full power of the god yet, will bring them back to the past where Nightmare Sans and Dream Sans are fighting. In the future, they're not fighting in the future. The Sun&Moon brothers' job is to get their grandfathers to work together in Book 4. Though they go back to the future when they find the orbs, fighting causes them to go back in time again. And glitches start showing up eventually. I plan to have a full storyline start to finish, but at the same time leave it open for my audience, you, to continue it. You may of course use these characters however you like in your own stories, fanfic, fan-made art, comics, anything really. If you like them, that is. I don't know how many will like this or if it will be a hit or not, but I tried my best and gave it my all because I thought it would be fun, and I do hope you will like it. I actually had been planning a second, hopefully way shorter series alongside Undertale Glassverse called Glassverse Schoolverse, which coincides along the storyline a bit. It is its own little thing, and it's not a multiverse war, but still goes back in time. Magic is rare and I'll be reading the first 2 chapters of Undertale Glassverse, Sun&Moon. Let's start with the summary. Meant to be the guardian of light, but born a parasite, Luminous struggles with his self-esteem, struggling with the weight of being the grandson of both the guardian of positivity and the guardian of negativity. He wishes to help others, but how can he do that if all he does is take? Chapter 1. Too much positivity. Luminous's scream pierced the air. Pitch was screaming his name, struggling to get to him from the other side of the otherwise silent village. Luminous. Pitch had been gone for only 3 days, just 3, and when he returned, the entire village was turned to stone. When Pitch looked around the stone figures of their home, he could swear he saw some of their cement gray eyes shakily move towards him. He slowly lifted himself from the ground, holding his arms in front of his eyes, heading towards his brother's desperate call. He could hear the silent pleas for help coming from humans and monsters alike. And yet, the only plea that mattered to him was his brother's, his Ori. His foot nearly slipped as he reached a giant crater in the village's square. His white and violet eyelights dilated at seeing a young skeleton no older than 6 years old, wearing a white undershirt covered by a Persian green tunic, much like his azure and navy blue tunic. They both had leather brown boots, but whereas he had polar white, Luminous had sable black pants. Luminous. His voice cracked upon seeing his twin knelt on his knees. He could sense his immense fear and guilt, even without looking at his shocked, wide, tear-stricken eyelight sockets. Brother, help. It's too much. Luminous choked as another wave of light exploded out of him. The light seeped from cracks forming across his bones. His scream sent a cold panic down Pitch's spine. Yearning to help his brother, Pitch lifted his heavy left arm through the air, reaching out to Luminous's shaking form. He stepped down slowly to the bottom of the crater. Lemmy, I know you are scared, but trust me, I can help you. Just let me hold you. Pitch shouted, desperation coloring his tone. Luminous, in the haze of his own aura, shakily turned towards him with his shaky arms. If Pitch could just reach him, he could absorb the overflow of positivity and convert it into negativity towards himself. In return, it would reduce the amount of positivity Luminous must have built up while he was gone, and give him back control of his body and emotions. Taking a deep breath, Pitch reached out. He connected with his twin in the warmest embrace either of them had ever felt. Tears ran down both their bony cheeks. Summary 2. The Guardian of Darkness, twin of the Guardian of Light. Pitch is a natural at everything. But what good is being a natural at everything if he can't help his brother? What if things go unnoticed until it's too late? Once Pitch felt enough positivity had drained from Lunas, he stepped back only to rush forward to catch his brother from falling. Lumi, are you okay? Come on, Luminous, wake up. Pitch panicked. He hadn't taken too much again, had he? His brother needed positivity as much as he needed negativity to survive. Looking at him, Pitch relaxed. Seeing as he was breathing, Luminous was just asleep. He must be exhausted. The glowing veins across Luminous's body had stopped glowing, the positivity and light no longer seeping out, but the cracks still remained. If he had healing magic, he would have healed him. But he didn't. Not with the amount of negativity running through his bone marrow. It's good that it stopped leaking at least, Pitch sighed. The 6-year-old rubbed his phalanges across his younger twin's burning forehead with a frown on his expression. I'm sorry for leaving you for so long, brother. I was supposed to keep an eye socket on you and Grandmother Nim. Pitch rubbed his cheeks dry, regret setting in like a rot in a non-existent stomach. I let my wish to get stronger consume me, and you paid the toll. I'm so sorry, Lumi. I'm so sorry. Sorry. After several minutes alone with his brother, the overwhelming fear and desperation from the villagers of Dreamtale had finally caught his attention. He formed his 2 pitch black tentacles behind him, stretching them as wide as he could to reach the villagers closest to him. One by one, Pitch released small amounts of negativity into each of them, not wanting to give them too much, until they were free of their stony imprisonment. By the time he had reached the last one, the first several had recovered enough to start talking about what had occurred out of earshot of Pitch. Without his noticing, they had surrounded Pitch's body. He's a parasite, evil like Nightmare. We shouldn't have taken them in. He's supposed to be the Guardian of Light. More like the Guardian of Parasites. All he does is take and take. The leech turned us to stone. The negativity spike made Pitch turn from the last villager. Then, upon hearing some of the distrustful and angry murmurs, he rushed back to Luminous' side, blocking them from reaching his brother. He didn't mean it. I wasn't here to help him, so the fault is mine. Please, forgive him. Pitch splayed his arms out protectively in front of Luminous. You are both vile creatures. To call you monsters would be insulting our kind. The bird monster screeched. Pitch flinched, remembering his grandfather's nightmares tale of how he was shunned for his negativity. He realized it now. These people had not changed. The respect they always showed him were all lies, brought on by fear. Yet how could they not be afraid of them? He reminded himself. They were just turned to stone. Perhaps he could talk to them, get them to understand, like his Papa Dream had done long ago, despite the abuse he took from them as well. Yet nothing he said mattered. Their beliefs were set in stone. With fear and hate-filled rage, the villagers picked up stones, glass bottles, knives, anything they could get their hands on, and threw them at Pitch and Luminous. Pitch quickly shielded them with his twin tentacles, holding Luminous tightly against his chest. Anger reached his shadowed soul, and shadows began to bubble out from beneath the earth, then forming tentacles. He shoved the shadows at the villagers, whipping them back. He then covered Luminous and himself to teleport them through the shadows out of the village. He went to the Tree of Feelings, setting his brother under the great tree, their grandmother, holding his brother protectively. I shouldn't have bothered, he huffed. People can't be changed. Pitch gently laid Luminous down. He needed to recover quickly as the villagers had clearly casted them out, and the Tree of Feelings would be the first place they'd check. Nim wept at hearing her young descendants in such misery. The former guardian deity that turned into the Tree of Feelings has witnessed the same tragic events play out for her children. Luckily, this pair of twins had a family that truly cared. Nim reached out her branch to tap on Pitch's shoulder and showed him telepathically an image of Dream and Nightmare. Oh, thanks, Nim. Can you spare me some negativity? Gratitude flooded Pitch as he was reminded of where they would be welcome to stay. He had to take Luminous to where he would be safe and loved. I promise you, brother, I will never leave you again. Well, I hope the warnings didn't put you off in the beginning. I believe Glassverse is a good read and should be given a chance. However, if you're old enough and you're curious as to what happens during the skips, you can go to AO3 and read it yourself. I will not be reading it here on YouTube. I tried to touch on some heavy things, but I don't condone their behavior. I tried to make different types of characters and situations, knowing some are bad, some are good, mostly morally gray. But that's just how it works. However, if you really don't want to, you don't have to read it on AO3 or listen to it here on YouTube. Just click off, I guess. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you like Glassverse and hope to see you next time.